to Bad Movie Beatdown. So, infidelity, all that heartbreak and pain, shattered relationships. Man, what hilarity! Or at least according to the makers of The Dilemma. The Dilemma is a fantastically tone-deaf comedy drama from 2011 and is a rare comedy from director Ron Howard. The film kicked up a massive amount of controversy and negative press before release, not because of the film's theme, but due to a homophobic slur featured in the film's trailer. Trust me, I have a little rant planned for that one. It's basically a vanity project for star Vince Vaughn, having produced it through his production company, and he was the one who took most of the blame for this film and its disappointing box office. But honestly, was anyone crying out for a funny take on infidelity? I mean, you saw the breakup, right? That wasn't funny. That was like being trapped watching a shouting match between two friends you really like and can't escape. Who wanted a spiritual successor to that? It certainly doesn't help that the movie is written by Alan Loeb, whose less than stellar writing credits include The Crap, Just Go With It and The Switch, about the hysterical subject of sperm hijacking. So let's kick off the infidelity double, as I've come to call it, with The Dilemma. So we open in a restaurant with two couples, Ronnie and Beth, played by Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Connolly, and Nick and Geneva, played by Kevin James and Winona Ryder.
How long does it take to really know someone?
Well, I don't know if you ever really know someone entirely. You know someone, you think pretty good, and then you find out stuff that's shocking that you didn't know existed. I think that happens every day. And look you hear all the time about these families. The dad, who knows what he does for a living, he leaves to go to Connecticut. He's really going to Harlem. He's got a Puerto Rican family that no one ever heard about.
I wonder if this conversation will be thematically appropriate for the rest of the film. It's being so subtle. Ronnie and Nick are also best friends working in the car industry as they visit the Chicago Auto Show. There's a really dumb scene here that shows how bad the supposed comedy of the rest of the movie will be, where Ronnie dupes Nick into hugging a senior executive at General Motors whilst he goes to get a meeting with the executives at Dodge, with Kevin James trying to squeeze out laughs that really aren't there.
You lying bastard!
I'm hugging this man like I'm some kind of asshole.
Why were you hugging the man?
Because he's our guy's direct competitor.
Why would you hug the direct competitor?
Because he had a near-death experience.
Actually, no, he didn't. That never happened. I made that up.
I'm never hugging again. I'm not listening to you, and he sets me up.
Nick, we got the meeting.
So let me get this straight. By having your partner hug your client's direct competitor, that somehow gets you a meeting? Surely that just makes you look like you're in bed with their rivals. At the bar, Ronnie admits to Beth that when it comes to couples, Nick and Geneva are his heroes. But surely the greatest couples relationship is between Ronnie and Nick, who start tearing up the dance floor by pretending to play American football like manly men. Basically, it's the mandatory bromance that must be included in every comedy since 2006. The boys take a trip out to Detroit to meet with the Dodge executives.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. That's what you've earned here today. One meeting.
Hey, what are you doing? Really? The Kurt Russell speech from the movie Miracle?
It's applicable to what we're doing. Anytime you go into a pressure situation, a competition, it makes sense. And I'm gonna write something better than that.
You know, that's not actually a joke, that's just referencing. And it's brilliant, really, because I've never seen the movie Miracle, so this scene is completely unfunny. Although I myself would never put in a film reference in place of a joke. And it's here we come to the infamous scene as Ronnie makes their pitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, electric cars, they're totally gay. It's true. I don't mean that they're homosexual gay, but I do mean your parents are the chaperone at the dance gay.
Oh, you mean gay as in G-H-E-Y, like the kids do. Well, the stupid and ignorant ones anyway.
The Nissan Spit, really? It screams this. The Chevy fingerprint.
Ah, right, so you really do mean homosexual gay, because you're implying that they're effeminate and unmasculine. You know, those other, better words that you could have used in your sales pitch instead, you bigot. And that's my biggest problem with this scene. It's not Vince Vaughn playing a character, it's clearly Vince Vaughn being Vince Vaughn, doing the same old shtick, spouting plain ignorant bullshit, except no one has told him to rein it in or even questioned him. Because hey, he's the producer. He can do whatever he likes. it. Using the word gay as a bit of cheap, backfiring shock humour just ruins any credibility the movie has at this point. We have other words for what you're talking about, Vince. Uncool and unfashionable are two others I can think of, which incidentally, this scene and your performance is. We certainly don't believe him or Kevin James to be businessmen, because if you actually said that in a pitch meeting, your arse would hit the pavement before you closed your mouth. Of course, it didn't help that Universal moronically used electric cars are gay as the first line in the original trailer before they were forced to re-edit it. In terms of audience introductions, it's the equivalent of shitting on their doorstep. And people were surprised this movie bombed? And why are electric cars so gay, as Ronnie puts it? Because they're not as cool as muscle cars, and their pitch is to try and make an electric car engine that feels like a muscle car. I would like to mention at this point that Ronnie drives a classic Dodge muscle car himself, and is seen driving it through several scenes. Basically, he drives muscle cars as a symbol to assert his dominant masculinity. You know, like a cock. And because this movie takes place in a bizarro world where you can apparently drop homophobic slurs in a pitch meeting and still be considered a master talker, Dodge wants a prototype from Ronnie and Nick that, if successful, could win them a huge contract. They're also placed under the supervision of Susan Warner, played by Queen Latifah, who confounds their masculinity by trying to be just one of the guys.
I'm a maverick, I'm a gunslinger, just like you. I'm inspired by what y'all throwing down. I got some serious ladywood here. I want to have sex with your words. I want to bang your brain.
Again, who speaks like this? I think that's grounds for a sexual harassment case right there. Throughout these opening 20 minutes or so, Nick and Geneva have both been hinting that maybe now is the right time for Ronnie to pop the question to Beth, and once back in Chicago, Ronnie goes to a botanical garden as a potential place to propose. The manager of the garden is played by Clint Howard in the obligatory cameo that he gets in his brother's films. Whilst there, Ronnie catches a glimpse of Geneva, who is with a younger man, Zip, played by Channing Tatum. Ronnie follows them and sees them kiss, which isn't funny, but you know what is? Falling into poisonous plants!
You can expect diarrhea, challenging urination with a possible bloody discharge, painful swelling of the gums, and a loss of feeling in the tongue, which will affect speech and give you very bad dreams.
See, it's a metaphor for the internal struggle going on within him, and oh, who am I kidding? It's an excuse for gross out jokes.
Ah, God.
Are you alright?
No, honey, to be honest, I'm feeling a little challenged here.
Yep, dealing with that serious theme with maturity and totally not a sign that they're struggling for jokes. So this is the titular dilemma. Does Ronnie tell Nick about Geneva's infidelity? Now that may seem like a no-brainer, but they've got a really important contract on the line, remember? And Nick's engine design isn't quite coming along so well at the moment.
What is it, Ron? What do you want? I want to talk to you about something that's kind of personal. You mind just stepping up with me in the office real quick?
We're not in the pressure cooker, man. We are deep in our own end zone, and I'm flushed out of the pocket, and I turn to you, my lead blocker. Hey, you want to go upstairs and talk in the office about something personal? Just block. That's what I need you to do, is just block.
Okay, maybe tell him when he's being less of an asshole to a supposed best friend, but that really doesn't seem too hard to me. Unfortunately, we wouldn't have a movie. You know who you should turn to for advice? Complete strangers! Especially the ones that speak in constant sports metaphors, because that's apparently man language in America.
Do you think that you have to be able to trust your teammate off the court as well? Let's say that Noah finds out that Derrick Rose's girl is cheating. Does he tell him or not? Because he doesn't want to affect his performance.
It's toxic to keep all that in. You have to tell him. That's guy code. Talking about your best
well,
friend.
I'll tell you ever hear the expression kill the messenger?
Is it the playoffs?
Game 7, the championship.
Oh, no, I wouldn't tell.
Yeah.
You wait.
And yes, apparently Ronnie is stupid enough to use this as justification for his actions for the rest of the film. Just make the play, man! In fact, when he gets back, Nick gives him an opening.
I am so sorry. I've been thinking too much about myself lately, and I'm throwing tantrums because the car is not loud enough. So I have 8 minutes.
What I wanted to talk to you about was proposing to Beth.
It was was right there! Screw your work, man! Some things are more important than that! Of course, just when it looks like things might have been heading in the right direction, their spouses turn up completely unannounced for, you know, dramatic convenience. The couples go to a hockey game where Ronnie goes out to confront Geneva. She tells him that he doesn't know the whole story, informing him that Nick goes out for special, massages. But mostly it seems that Ronnie's ultimatum of tell him or I will is simply because he's too hesitant to do it himself.
Don't do this now, not while this Chrysler thing is going on.
You're not going to see this guy anymore.
God, no, that was stupid. I know that was stupid. And it's over. It's over because it never was.
Are you promising me
Yes.
that as soon as this bit is over, you're going to tell him, and you're going to tell him about this guy that you kissed?
I absolutely swear to God, yes.
Because you can really trust the word of someone who is cheating on their spouse. Now cross your heart and hope to die.
I'm so disappointed.
Okay.
Just pick a date and ask Beth to marry you.
Surprise! She didn't tell him! Oh, and get used to the infidelity conflict being confused with proposal jitters, because that misunderstanding is hilarious! That's why I haven't laughed in a supposed comedy once! Ronnie thinks there may be something in Geneva's claim that Nick is also not exactly faithful, and decides to follow him, because the last time he did that worked so well! And it turns out that her claim was indeed correct, and he is getting a rub and tug.
Yo.
So what are you doing?
At home?
Yeah. You want to get a beer?
Mountain High! We make you so happy. When you leave here, you will smile like boy who just got off braces.
What was that?
Nothing. There's a war film on Four Mad Men.
But don't you see, it has racist Asian stereotypes, and that makes it hysterical. But this is a huge development in the plot, because it means that it isn't simply Geneva that is the bad girl in the situation, and that Nick is just as guilty, if not more so, since he was the one who strayed first. Could this be, dare I say it, a moment of complexity? Guess how much this movie does with this plot point? Exactly nothing. It's hardly ever brought up again, and it lets Nick off the hook in the process. Way to side with the guys, movie! And as if to apologise for being smart briefly, the movie doubles up on stupidity from this point, because Ronnie's next move is to call Geneva, who it turns out was completely lying to him, and meets with her in a diner.
I'm going to go see Nick tonight. I'm going to tell him that he's married to goddamn Helen Keller. The girl with all the personalities.
Sybil.
Yeah, Sybil.
Helen Keller jokes? Are you just trying to be offensive now to compensate for the fact that you're running into a humour brick wall movie? And you know why constantly meeting and talking with her is a really dumb idea considering how untrustworthy she is? Because it leaves him wide open to being blackmailed, especially when plot contrivances get involved.
All I need to do is get out of here and go tell Nick that his wife is cheating.
I'm gonna deny it. And then I'm gonna say you made a pass at me.
We both decided not to say anything, and we didn't want to ruin something good over a drunken college night that happened 3 months before you two ever started dating.
He doesn't know that.
It didn't mean anything, Geneva.
Yeah, well, it means something now, doesn't it?
Talk about a plot contrivance. Okay, movie, so you're talking about secrets and infidelity, that's fine, but that doesn't entitle you to pulling plot developments straight out your ass. Not to mention that sleeping with someone 20 years ago, before they and their partner even got together, it's not actually that much of a big deal. But the reason that I object to this scene so thoroughly is that it completely undoes the positive development of the preceding scene by cementing Geneva as a one-dimensional evil character full of lies and crocodile tears. Basically, they want to call her the bitch so we can easily forgive Nick's indiscretions. I'm sorry, movie, but that doesn't cut it. Man, if only there was someone he could confide in, someone he loves and trusts, and has helped him through some tough times. Oh yeah, I forgot! He has a loving girlfriend who he hasn't told a single thing to at this point. Can someone please tell me why he hasn't told her yet? And don't tell me it's because he caught Geneva whilst picking a proposal spot, because that detail is entirely incidental. It's probably because she'd actually be smart enough to actually make him tell Nick. And in case you forgot about that whole electric car engine thing, Susan tells Ronnie that Dodge has given their idea to a rival company, and now they've only got 3 days to beat them to the punch. Incidentally, I really want a Dodge Viper right about now. Oh know, will they be able to make an electric muscle car engine on time? I'm finding this all so riveting. But back to the main plot, and Ronnie, instead of trying to get less involved, goes out and buys a camera and starts tailing and following Geneva around Chicago. Dude, it's called a private detective. Hire one. It's much easier that way. Okay, you want proof so you can bring it to Nick when you tell him, that's all well and good, but that doesn't mean you have to personally get it yourself, and by climbing up onto the roof of Zip's house to get photos of them having sex, you are breaking several laws all at once. Let's take a look at the number of felonies he's managed to rack up already. Okay, we have stalking, violation of privacy, trespassing, and harassment. Those things are going to be very difficult to explain if you get caught. Not to mention that he's shirking on his responsibilities with not only Nick, who needs all the help he can get, but also with Beth, whose parents are having their wedding anniversary on this very night as well. You're being completely blinded by your obsession and you don't have the time for it. Again, I'd like to recommend the services of a private dick. Ronnie stays until Geneva leaves, but before he can go, he's attacked by Zip, who drags him inside to fight him as Ronnie drops his camera. This results in easily the film's most moronic scene, where Ronnie goes around breaking Zip's personal property, including his guitar and his fish tank, and threatening to burn Zip's face off with an aerosol can. So now we can add property damage, breaking and entering, and assault to his already big list of charges. Yeah, that's definitely prison time, and you can kiss that contract of yours goodbye. And is it wrong of me to say that when Zip is smashing up Ronnie's car, I was actually cheering for him because Ronnie has brought this one down on himself? It's clear the filmmakers consider this to be one of the comedic high points of the film, but what it actually is one of the biggest pieces of idiot plotting I've ever witnessed. So he shows up to the anniversary party massively late with a bruised and swollen face.
Look, obviously, something's going on with you, okay? And I want you to know that if you need me, screw the project, screw the deadline, I'm there for you, all right?
You see, moron? He understands the personal difficulties are much more important than a professional deadline. Why haven't you told this guy yet? He then proceeds to make himself look like a prized twat by assaulting Beth's cousin when he confuses him for a suitor, and at this point, I think he's actively trying to make things worse.
I like to make the toast. 40 years. I would assume what would get you through those 40 years would be honesty.
And love.
Even more than that, Bert, is the honesty.
Don't forget about patience.
You can relax. Patience is on the table. What I'm talking about, though, is honesty here.
This is like witnessing the death of cringe comedy. Please, shut up.
What I'm going to focus on, though, here is the ingredient that I think really makes the whole stew stick together, and that is honesty.
And similar interests.
Who are you?
I'm Cousin Betty.
First?
Second.
Which isn't even a real relative because someone could have sex with a second cousin and the kid could still be normal.
Think about where you are, asshole. You don't insult the guests, especially not your girlfriend's parents' wedding anniversary. Just shut up.
Honesty. You cannot run from it. And believe me, the truth will always find you. Bert and Sid.
Shut the fuck up! You self-centered homophobic prick! You just ruined your girlfriend's parents' wedding anniversary for the sake of a two-faced toast. I hope you're proud of yourself. You know, I had nothing but contempt for this guy before, but what's even beneath contempt? Oh, that's right, loathing. I loathe this guy.
What's going on in your head that's causing these things?
It's just some stuff that I have to fix, and I can't bring you in on it because that would directly affect my ability to do that.
You what? Why doesn't he just tell her? The character's gone past just being stubborn. He's completely moronic. And after the shit he just pulled, I'm surprised she doesn't dump his ass right there and then. What is he doing? What the fuck is even wrong with him?
Oh, God. What's going on? Come on in the house. What, are you gonna shoot me right here on your porch in broad daylight? Are you out of your mind? Zip, I came here with the intent and only the intent of getting my camera back.
Your camera? If you just want your camera, it's right here.
So let me get this straight. You went to the cheater's house to ask for your camera back in the hopes of getting back the incriminating photos? And at what point in your head did this plan make any sense to you? And why hasn't Zip called the police yet? He's well within his rights. And so Ronnie pays an extortionate amount of money to get back the camera like an idiot, and he's so out of control at this point that Nick is following him around and ends up knocking on Zip's door. Oh, what a wacky farce. So Ronnie finally psychs himself up to confront Nick, but when he gets through the door, his family and friends have actually set up an intervention for him. See, Ronnie is a former gambling addict, and they think he's relapsed, and that's why he's been acting so weird lately. A gambling addict? Oh, movie, you crack me up. I wonder what they're gonna pull out next. Maybe a recovering alcoholic. And just to add more contrivance, Zip shows up because Nick thought he was Ronnie's bookie. Ronnie decides he's had enough and gives Nick the camera.
There's more pictures. You gotta flip through that one, get to the other picture.
And it keeps going back to the same picture because there's only one picture in the catalog.
Stop it.
Ronnie! Get off!
Well, that was massively predictable. You know, comedies have to be smarter than their audience, not the other way around. And finally, Ronnie tells Nick the truth.
There's something that I already should have told you, Nick.
What is it?
Geneva's been running on you with the guy that you thought was my bookie.
It's true.
The thing is that, what did you expect?
Well, that was anticlimactic. So after all the threats and blackmail, she comes right out with it in the end? Wow, I'm beginning to think there wasn't much of a dilemma in the first place.
There's one more small thing that I just want to bring closure to now in the circle of gentleness.
You don't have to.
Yes, I do, Geneva. When we were in college, before you ever even knew each other, I kind of slept with Geneva.
When the person who was intending to use it as blackmail material is telling you you don't need to tell him, you don't need to tell him! As you might expect, Nick storms out in a huff and is followed closely by Geneva sheepishly walking out of the movie, never to be seen again. Bye, Winona Ryder! And then Ronnie and Beth have a talk about how they should trust each other and really should have told each other about their problems, just in case the back row hasn't quite figured out what this movie is about yet. And he finally pops the question to her. Amazingly, she accepts. Ronnie is unsure whether or not Nick will show up for the Dodge meeting, but he's there waiting for him.
I've been doing a lot of soul searching, and the thing of it is... Honestly, I just want to get past this thing, okay? So if you want to hit me again, if that's gonna...
You handled this whole thing like shit. Now, I'm not saying it was easy, but in the future, no matter how uncomfortable things are, if it affects us, you gotta tell me.
So really, there was no dilemma at all. And if Ronnie hadn't spent the entire film going around like an idiot, none of this would have happened. Go on, Nick. Hit him some more for me. I think he deserves it. And so the duo, having worked out their differences, walk into the room to prove whether or not Nick has made the non-gay electric car engine that they promised, and it turns out they has indeed succeeded. You'll have to excuse me if I don't jump out of my seat in celebration.
That's why I love you. That's why my ladywood is still strong.
I'm sorry?
If I was sitting on the hood of that car,
Okay.
and the way it was just vibrating.
I understand.
Oh, bloody sod off about your ladywood, Queen Latifah, and take your pointless character with you. So in the final scene, Beth and Ronnie are at the hockey game watching Nick attempt to do the halftime goal scoring challenge. And at least Ronnie quoting the miracle speech here actually makes sense in context this time. Woo, yeah! This totally makes me forget about how he was being wanked and yanked. Actually, no it doesn't. There's no dilemma over whether you should see it, just don't. The dilemma is horrendously misconceived from the premise up. The fact of the matter is, infidelity is a very, very hard subject to make funny, and that's clear from the way the film gasps like a fish, struggling to even raise a smirk, let alone a laugh, inventing a whole manner of contrived set pieces that are completely ridiculous and implausible. Ron Howard's inexperience at directing comedy really shows, and it isn't helped by the fact that Vince Vaughn and is left completely unchecked to take over the film with his self-indulgent monologuing, including that dreadful toast scene. The other cast members are wasted, including Kevin James in a part that seldom requires him to be funny, and Channing Tatum is the best thing in it, but is only in a handful of scenes. Next week we'll be looking at infidelity from the opposing team, but until then, I'm Matthew Buck, beating down bad movies everywhere.